It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, share with a friend who will find this valuable. If you're on audio, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Help us out a lot. We're live in New Orleans with the good brother Booker T. Washington out of Atlanta. Booker, thank you so much for jumping on the show, man.
Absolutely. I'm happy to join.
Absolutely, man. It's been a fun couple days.
It has been.
At the conference, and, I think you're pulling triple duty now. It's third.
No, it's been an impactful week. I think that's how I would label it. I've never seen such a lineup and room of very engaged and intentional conversation, networking, business relationships, all in one effort to grow one another, grow each other's businesses. It's a room of very successful people looking to gain more. So it was exciting to be a part of the weekend.
Definitely. So, Booker, you're the first Black developer to build a micro home community. So congrats on that.
Oh, thank you.
And just to start, what is a micro home community? What does that even mean?
Well, there's a lot of different definitions of small homes. I think more people understand tiny homes, right? Mm-hmm. But tiny homes have a definition like anything else. So tiny homes typically go to a range of 300 square feet. But what we built, our micro homes are between 300 square feet and 600 square feet. Those homes are considered micro because of their size. And they're also considered micro because they're a little bit smaller than the room sizes that you may be familiar with in a larger standard home. But we felt like as far as accessibility and affordability into the marketplace for home ownership, that it was necessary to develop a product of that type and bring it to an urban area. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, what you've done is something I've never seen before, and you've done it in a major area. It's not like in a rural area.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit more about the need for that, because obviously prices are going up everywhere, but you saw a need and you decided to do something about it. So talk to us a little more about that.
Well, really the need started from my story and background as an individual, okay? I grew up in the urban areas of Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia is a hub and a mecca of business and enterprise. But we grew up in a way that we just moved from one level of low-income housing to another level of low-income housing, not really understanding the story and power behind home ownership. Much like any single parent, my mom worked several jobs, and we struggled to just really grow and grow up. And it was only my dream to run away from the neighborhoods I grew up in and, live a different life and dream of a different life. But only as I became older, I only dreamed of coming back to the neighborhoods I grew up in to make them better. So the kids that were much like me could see a dream of something different and hone in on the levels of home ownership. And those single mothers could make a decision to pay the same amount of rent that they can for a home. And in this new world and this new economy, with this much change in the world, we can do all things I believe possible in bringing more home ownership to especially minorities, Black and brown. And so that's the major reason why, and the need has always existed for home ownership, particularly in urban neighborhoods. We just decided to innovate and do something different.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. So the development is 29 homes, right?
29 homes on about 3 acres of land. In a major metropolitan area of College Park, Georgia, which is adjacent to Atlanta, Georgia, and Atlanta Hartsfield Airport.
Got you. So 29 homes. Talk about the financing. How were you able to come up with the capital to acquire the land, and also, of course, build these homes?
Well, as historic as the community is, the way we found capital to build these homes is just as historic, okay? When you think about how we all connect now, we all connect somewhere via social media, okay? Whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or MySpace still exists out there somewhere in the world. Everyone's interconnected. And so that is where we experience life. That's where we attach ourselves to purpose. So that is where I started in raising capital, because that's where the people are. Wow. All right. No one really wanted to believe in the dream. No one really trusted that version of real estate development because it was new. And of course, with anything new, we label it different. And anything we label different, we provide a fear to. So my goals were to develop a community that was different, that was impactful, and bring it to the people that it would serve the most. So we went to raise capital on Instagram. And we crowdfunded a multi-million-dollar development that way. We didn't use any institutional banks. We didn't ask for permission. We just did it. And the power of collaborative economics, I think, exists within, one, our Black community, for sure. But two, we've proven a point that there is trust and execution in complex projects and complex dreams. And that makes me most proud.
Definitely. And what I love so much about that is people always, well, not people, some people don't believe Black people can collaborate and work together. I mean, obviously where we're at is a testament to the opposite of that.
Correct.
But you were able to prove that at scale. So can you talk a bit more about that piece of it? Because I really want people to know we actually can collaborate, and there's plenty of examples of that.
Correct. Collaboration, I think, is something that we've been trained to be in apathy of. I think that collaboration is something that we can do once there is a good dream and a good vision tied to a good strategic plan. And oftentimes we do lack strategic plans. And so collaboration often falters because we don't have enough action or enough strategy in order to get us all the way through in the path. But for me, in my dream and what I planned for South Park Cottages was a very specific and intentional plan, not of just building a home, but building a community. And that community incubates so many different things other than the home. We have amenities and sustainable amenities and efficiency in our energy that provide value to the homeowner, not just because there's a roof over their head, but because there's a better way to live a more abundant life. And that's what we strive to do with the plan. And so when you start talking through not just the plan, but your dream, and then you have the audacity, okay? If you think about, former President Barack Obama, he had the audacity of hope, right? That's what this community was all about.
Definitely, definitely. So I was looking at the designs online, love it. So
yes.
shout out to that.
Appreciate
design.
it.
And to your point, you were mentioning a lot of the energy efficient aspects of the home. So
Absolutely.
Can you talk about that and just the other unique aspects of the homes that people will be living in?
Yeah, absolutely. I think our community features a lot of innovative change when we think about community setup and we think about a incubated lifestyle where there's connection, okay? Our community is intentionally connected. Our parking spaces are not next to the home, but on the outside of the community, and all the homes are incubated in the interior. The reason why is to absolutely make intentionality around the connection of neighbors and living together, right? It takes a village, but also we have sustainable initiatives. So this community is built in affordability because long-term benefit of their home and long-term benefit in the energy consumption they have is important. We all pay bills, right? Yeah. We're not going to run away from bills. So when I'm building a home, I think about the life and lifestyle of the person owning the home. So we built in such things as solar panels for the roofs. We built in such things as instant hot water tanks for efficiency of hot water and water usage. We built in such things as far as vegetable gardens and a dog park and walking trails all around the same 3 acres. So when they come home, they can have more of a life and lifestyle, not just a home, and have much more of what we call pride of ownership. And not to be left out, I think the most coolest thing is we built edible landscape in our community. And edible landscape is where we planted, fruit trees and berry trees and mint and plum trees along the walking trails where people can have a much more healthy lifestyle. Because a big statistic in urban America, especially in minority impoverished neighborhoods, is for those who need the most in nutrition, we receive the least. And so it was my purpose to build a community that would encompass that and would provide that, and it was intentionality around that and not just the homes themselves.
Definitely, and I love that because, one, it shows, obviously, it's beautiful houses, great developments.
Right.
But it's holistic, right?
Correct.
You're able to touch multiple aspects of somebody's life through real estate. So correct. I think the way that you thought it through is very impressive. And I mean, this is not only going to impact the generation who's living there, but those who live there, the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And,
correct.
And the health of those folks as well and quality of life.
Correct. Quality of our neighborhoods should be a focus, not just the product we sell. In the world of development, we do oftentimes get caught up in the product and the sale and the transaction. We wanted to have a community that both had transactions because we are a for-profit business, but had a longevity of value. because the longevity of value is where the legacy is and where the lineage of generational wealth being passed down from the many people that will own those homes over the years will have value. And I take a big piece of responsibility in that because I developed it. I'm responsible in building its infrastructure. I'm responsible in its strategic plan. So this community will outlive me, and I want the lineage of that community to be that it was built with right purpose, it was built with passion, it was built with love.
Definitely. So how long did it take to sell out?
We actually sold out of all of our homes within 30 days of launching our pre-sale before we ever built a home. And that is a testament to where we are in the demand of this economy for people thirsty for home ownership. It is a testament to the viability of people's ability to purchase a home. Because if you allow the narrative to sit out there that minorities, one, don't have the mechanism to have credit, they don't have cash, they don't have the ability to buy their homes, we kind of crush that by developing in a developing street in an urban neighborhood where no one wanted to develop, and sold out of a community where people saw a vision. And that's the first time that I think in a long time that people were able to attach themselves to something visually because they were so thirsty for something innovative.
Wow, that's incredible. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. So I have to ask. I'm sure there's more on the way.
Absolutely. The plan is to grow, and the plan is to scale. Techie Homes and my organization, the plan is to literally provide accessible and affordable home solutions in urban neighborhoods within our micro home build concept. We think that it's an absolute need. We think that it's an absolute demand. We think that there is an availability for people to have accessibility based upon home size. Of course, a micro home may not fit every home size, but in every level of affordability, whether you are a 1-person, 2-person, or 3-person household, you may find living in 600 or 700 square feet as the ideal path versus paying the average rent in an urban area, which is oftentimes 2 times more than what you would pay for a mortgage. Wow. And so our plans are to grow, and our next community will be in Union City, Georgia, which is located right inside of the greater Atlanta area as well, adjacent to multiple movie studios and adjacent to, again, a high level of rental community. And so our goals are to target those communities specifically and provide a home ownership option.
Definitely. Love it. So what's the average price of your homes versus the average price in Atlanta?
Our home prices average between $180,000 and $230,000. The average home price in greater Atlanta is $470,000. The average medium home price is well over $500,000. These prices at $180,000 to $230,000 are the new starter home and the new affordable range for new construction in urban neighborhoods. We're talking about where people that live in dense populated affordable housing projects can begin to find a level of home affordability where they work and where they live without being gentrified out of their area. So we like to call it in some ways reverse gentrification. I can provide you a home product and an innovative product where you live, where you pay rent, and have you pay the same price for it and not have to move you out. And that is something that I think is purposeful about what we're doing with Techie Homes and why we can plan to continue to grow.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. So as far as the buyers, is there a certain, what's the process? Like, is there a certain income limit to buy the property? How does that part work?
Well, for our buyers, they follow the standard process for any mortgage. Mm-hmm. But one thing we do is make it fair. Yeah. We don't raise the price. It is first come, first serve for the demand. So if you want it, you can get it. There's tons of grant options, as well as me personally from my organization providing down payment assistance. In South Park Cottages, we provided over $180,000 in first-time home buyer credits so that these homeowners, when they move in, and if they pay their deposits, they get those deposits back and get able to move into a home where it was low cost to them personally. And so that's our goals. And this type of development, we can do both. I tell people I can do good by doing well. And or do well by doing good, rather. And that means is I'm going to have a mission. That mission is going to be a purposeful goal. We are still going to do it for profit, but I can do both. I don't have to galvanize or gouge people in home prices just because it's a hot real estate market in order to achieve our mission. We can absolutely do both and bring quality and value long term for these home buyers. And that's the reason why our price points are where they are, and that's the reason why our quality of our projects are where they are.
Definitely, definitely. Is this a model that you think can be replicated in urban areas across the country?
Absolutely. I think this new level of home build and product has an absolute definite lane in every major metro area within the United States. If you think about Charlotte, Raleigh, Miami, Chicago, New York, of course, Newark and New Jersey, LA, Texas, Houston. If you think about all of these areas that happen to have very populous populations and dense populations, we continue to try to build up and build in an attached format, which I think decentralizes community. When you decentralize community, you actually contribute to crime. You actually contribute to transient behavior because you've detached the fabric for which we all naturally yearn for, which is human connection, right? Mm-hmm. If you think about home building is just an extension of human behavior. We all yearn for attachment. We all yearn to share. We all yearn to love. We all yearn to have pride in what we have as an asset or what we purchase. But in attached living, we actually decentralize and break down that actual fabric. So these micro communities inside of metro areas with infill lots is a great option. I'm not saying it's the only option, but it is a great option in a way to provide home ownership in urban markets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when the last home was built, everything was done and you just looked out and saw it. Talk to me about what that felt like.
In some ways, it was a sense of validation. And actually, it gave me a sense of gratitude for my mom. My mom this year would have passed away 12 years ago. But it was the strength of her as a single mother, and it's the strength that she provided to us as a kid, is that, hey, I may not be able to give you all the tools, but the one thing I can give you is dedication and hard work and faith. And if you keep faith to God, and even though you feel like you're down and out and bank accounts on zero or whatever is happening, He's going to reward your faith and continue to refill that cup over and over and over again in order for you to achieve the dreams. But she also always mentioned that He only bestowed favor to those He think that could carry the load. And I feel a great sense of gratitude that, God provided me a vision that I executed. I wouldn't say that it is uniquely my dream. I think it is God's vision that He provided to me to borrow. And I just executed at a level that I think He continues to fill the cup in order for me to execute the dream. And that's how South Park Cottages was birthed. So it just gives me a sense of validation and gratitude for my mom and those things that we've had to put forth to gain what we have. And I just feel so excited for the residents that are going to be moving in soon to that community. And I feel so excited for the community as a whole, College Park and where its location is, because they will all benefit for what we did here and what we will continue to do in the future.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, Booker, where can people find you if they want to work with you, collaborate, and keep up with what you have going on with South Park Cottages and just future developments as well?
Absolutely. Anyone wants to reach out to me, they can reach us via my Instagram. It's Mr._Booker_T. They can find me on LinkedIn at Booker T. Washington and Techie Homes. They can find us via our website, www.techie-homes.com, and that's TECHIE-homes.com. And of course, you can find our communities, southparkcottages.com, and our future community, unionparkcottages.com, for our future communities. And happy to connect and collaborate with whomever wants to drive this mission.
Definitely. Booker, really appreciate you jumping on the show and just talking about the innovation, the impact, and the great things you're doing. And so, we definitely probably going to do a part 2 and 3 as you build the other developments. So this is just the beginning. Really,
more than happy to come on, and kudos to you to the great work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And bringing forth these messages and these stories that provide growth within the Black dialogue of real estate. And so kudos to you and continued success, my man.
Appreciate it. And thank you everyone for listening to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button. If you're on audio, leave us that 5-star rating and review. Thank you all so much. Talk to you soon.